participating in any war or military conflict, and there is a certain paradox between democracies and dictatorships. The United States has always been a key factor in military conflicts. Currently, they are not participants in any such conflicts. For the most part, they have returned to an era of political isolationism. They help others, but do not make decisions about sending their own troops, effectively protecting their allies solely through their own authority, which does not always work. And we understand perfectly that President Donald Trump, who has always been a proponent of such an approach, is surprisingly the heir to Biden's legacy. And he too will do everything possible to ensure that the United States avoids participation in any conflict. Biden believes that no American should be involved in war, and that American troops should not be on foreign soil. This is his political credo, which he has demonstrated for many decades. Trump's credo is that the US should not interfere in various situations. President Trump will try to do everything possible and impossible to prevent the United States from being involved in war. They hoped this would work in World War II, but we know that President Roosevelt adhered simultaneously to both Trump's and Biden's concepts. This was a classic concept of American isolationism, but there is reality. In World War II, Germany's declaration of war against the United States and Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor forced the United States, against its will, and I would say against its external political concept and the wishes of the American public, to become a country that participated in World War II, contradicting itself. Therefore, when we talk about what will happen to America, and especially what will happen to America, because at the helm of the United States is a president advocating isolationism, we must realize that we are not dependent on Trump or the American people regarding whether the United States will participate in World War III, which has already been ongoing in Europe for 10 years. It started similarly. When Hitler occupied Austria and France, it was not yet called World War II at that time, but it was already World War II. There is an aggressor, Russia, which is a dictatorship, and there is democracy, as in Ukraine, Europe, and the US. The populations of Europe, like those of the US, fear Russia's dictatorship, and instead of democracy, they turn to their own dictators and radicals, believing that they will have more power and be able to respond more effectively to challenges than democracy can. This is simply the psychology of the masses, nothing more. The US has to defend itself, so even Trump, if he feels a certain danger to the United States, will defend himself quite vigorously, because he will need to uphold the authority of the United States and his own authority. I have no doubt about that. And then, despite the wishes of any president, a great war will begin. I cannot guarantee this will happen, of course. I would very much like it not to, but we do not know how President Vladimir Putin of the Russian Federation and Xi Jinping, head of the People's Republic of China, truly perceive the situation and where they see the red line beyond which they will act more decisively in a military political sense to attack Europe, to strike with nuclear weapons. Thank God that recent tests at the testing grounds have shown they are incapable of doing so, and their combined nuclear program, which was developed in the USSR, worked solely thanks to Ukrainian developments, and engineers and factories, has not been operational for 10 years. Therefore, they cannot demonstrate power in any way, but it is possibly just a matter of bombing of residential buildings, dead children, women many, already 12 killed, many children, and Russia continues to methodically bomb residential areas, demonstrating absolutely senseless sadism. Russian social networks take pride in their crimes, applaud, and demand more and more. All of these bombs from the Russian Federation have had a pathological nature from day one, but today Russia has nothing to lose. It has become a pariah with its reputation as a terrible sadist and insatiable pervert. It no longer wears the mask of a country that would like to live like a European and enjoy life by earning honestly. Wars always have a face, This is the face of every Russian who supports this war against Ukraine and who simply wants Russia to exist. This country is a maniac and a killer, living to kill and fight with others. It parasitizes for its existence. Here is a list of countries with which Russia or the Soviet Union have fought or intervened in military conflicts that have affected our relatives, parents, and grandparents whom we personally knew. Germany, Lithuania, Latvia, Sweden, Japan, China, Czechia, Poland, Hungary, Serbia, Croatia, Afghanistan, Iran, Chechnya, Georgia, Ukraine, Syria, Moldova, Libya, Hungary, Finland, Poland. My vision of what will happen and what we should prepare for, Trump and Putin are ready to negotiate. Thus, alongside fierce fighting, negotiations will continue fruitlessly. This is an option that for some reason no one considers. Negotiations, say, over Berlin lasted for years. Such situations are the most dangerous because they create the very mechanism of negotiations. Politicians and diplomats who are participants in this mechanism are interested in its continuation. They gain political dividends not only from the result, such as victory, but also from participating in the negotiations. We will have a mechanism of war in which Putin will be interested, and a mechanism of diplomatic negotiations in which the United States will be interested. But this will yield no results. Russia already belongs to China, if you do not know. China will remove its mask when the threat of Russia's disintegration arises. There are already some processes concerning autonomy. If China ultimately sides with Russia, it will lead to war in Taiwan, rectifying the mistake regarding Ukraine and an invasion of Europe. During this time, the dragging out of negotiations and a temporary ceasefire will allow Putin to amass forces, and this will be a mistake that Europeans cannot afford. We Ukrainians know what we need: drone production. I know that only a company without owners can do this, uniting all people together, creating other products in the US and European markets, and earning money to unite society and fight against the propaganda and corruption that is eroding all of Europe just as it is in Ukraine, and against Russia, which earns in Europe, and the USA company without owners through blockchain will be completely transparent, and all decisions will be made together. Creating such a system costs $1 million, but there is a plan on how we can earn. Step by step, we will quickly earn and overcome the internal enemy. 1% holds the money of 99% of Europe and the US. We will change this to the opposite result together. Follow the link below the video to the project on Indiegogo and learn more about it. Spread it wherever you can. Follow the Instagram and the plan on how to earn together. This plan is simple. Release a film, launch a large-scale startup where you can earn even before the film and before the launch of the blockchain system. The earned money will be invested in creating a blockchain system for online communication and decision-making, as well as in a business in the US and Europe that can sustain the development of the program and earn us money. Launch our own people's cryptocurrency. Behind Bitcoin is from China, or that 1% who wants to own us and manipulate